Deputy, can we start? It is already 7.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure.
Yeah, please proceed.
Neha, you can start now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Chief Guest of the Day, Dr. Suri Subramanyam, Professor and Director, CET School of Management, Trivandrum, respected dignitaries, guests, volunteers, and all the participants, a very pleasant evening to one and all. I, Neha and Christopher, feel extremely privileged to welcome you all to the 101st talk of weekly webinar series jointly organized by IEEE Kerala Section, the Institution of Engineers India, Kerala State Center, Computer Society of India Trivandrum Chapter, Project Management Institute Kerala Chapter, Intersociety Trivandrum Chapter, Vakam Maulavi Foundation Trust Trivandrum, Life Member Affinity Group IEEE Kerala Section, IEEE Engineering in Medicine and Biology Kerala Chapter, and the Institute of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering. Before we begin the session, I kindly bring your attention to the feedback link that will be provided along the mail hosting the Zoom link. And except for the speaker, all the participants, please make sure that your audio and video are off throughout the session. And after the session, we will be having a question and answer session. So all the participants are welcome to post all your queries and questions in the chat box. And the selected queries will be addressed by the speaker after the session. Now moving on, formally I welcome Atmaja Devi to welcome the virtual gathering.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. A warm good evening to one and all. I am Atmaja Devi. That's my great pleasure to welcome you all in 101 weekly webinar series. Moving on to my assigned duty. Firstly, I welcome the guest for today's session, Respected Dr. Suri Subramanyam. He is the professor and director of CET School of Management, College of Engineering, Trivandrum. I heartily welcome you, sir. Next, I welcome respected Dr. K.C. Ravindranathan, sir, the chair and the leader of Indian Society weekly webinar series. I welcome you, sir. And I also welcome the volunteers for today's session, Neha, Nova Stebi, Minha, for the 101 weekly webinar series. I heartily welcome all the coordinating societies and professional communities and the talented participants to the evening. Once again, welcome all of you to the 101 weekly webinar series. Thank you.
Thank you, Atmaja. Now I call upon Noah Stubby for the introduction.
A warm good evening to all present in this virtual gathering. I am Noah Stebby. It's my privilege to introduce our speaker of the day, Dr. Suri Subramanyam. Dr. Suri Subramanyam is the professor and director of CET School of Management, College of Engineering, Trivandrum. He had his BTech in Mechanical Engineering from CET in 1985 and MS in Industrial Engineering in 1988 from Louisiana State University in USA. He also had a PhD in management from
Your audio is broken. Neha, please slow down. Your audio is broken.
Sir, I'm audible now.
Shall I move ahead with the presentation, sir?
Yeah, you can, please. Please proceed.
Yeah. Shall I start? Shall I start?
Yeah, you can start sharing your stuff.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Can you see my screen? Have I shared my screen? Hello?
Noted, noted.
Not that.
Please wait.
Share screen. Okay. Is it shared now? Is it shared now?
No, noted. I think Neha,
Permission has to be given from your side.
can you stop sharing? Neha? Yeah. Neha has to stop sharing.
Now, can you see my screen?
No, sir. We are yet to see, sir.
Oh, 1 second, sir. 1 second. Share screen. Is it? Are we able to visualize my screen?
No, sir.
Not that.
Here I am. Ready. Are you able to see my screen? No.
No, yet to come.
I am sharing my screen only. All participants. So who can start sharing when someone else is sharing? Now, is it possible, sir? Now, can you see me?
No, no,
Not it?
not it.
Oh. I am clicking the share screen option on my screen. Okay, it doesn't matter, sir. I will start without sharing the screen. I think. Now can you see me? Possible? No.
No, sorry.
Sir, seems your video, we can't see your video also. So must be that is the problem.
What is the reason? Can you tell me? See, I am sharing the screen here. There is a share screen available for me.
Your video is also not visible, sir. So can you please switch off and switch on the video and try?
I will again one more time log in once. Now, possible?
Yeah, now your video is on, sir. So you can try.
Now can you see my screen?
Suresh, there is one more solution. Can you copy, mail it to you? Mail it to Gifty or somebody?
I can send it to you, sir. I can send it to you. Is it good enough? Shall I send it across to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, could you just mail it to the email sent in the chat box?
Your email? So can you? Did you get it? I have sent
No,
it.
I didn't get your. I didn't get your.
The mail. I have sent you the mail, sir. As a reply mail, I have sent you now.
Okay. I have not received it. Now it has come in.
Yeah.
Let me try to share your screen. Is it visible?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Now that's constant. Thank
Can
you.
you proceed, please?
Yeah.
Proceed fast.
So, yeah. Let us go to the first one, sir. First slide. So here, good evening, everybody. First of all, let me thank Professor Ravindran sir for inviting me for this talk, and let me do the best possible justice for this opportunity given. So here I am going to present how the evolution of information system has is going on, especially from a artificial intelligence perspective viewpoint. So that's what I am planning to do today. As we all know that once upon a time, our information system was islands of automation. There was no when we started for accounts, one information system was separately available. For marketing, another separate one was there. For production, another separate one, and all these were done in several different platforms, and there was no communication possible in those days between these platforms also, and the databases also were monolithic. By saying monolithic, what we mean is that the database and the data were put together and it is in one form, one block. So it was difficult to suppose if I want to change the vendor of the database system. For example, if I want to move from Oracle to say Sybase, say, it is not possible to switch the vendor because my data and the supplier of the particular database system was done in one block. So it was difficult. So that system was changed because of the CODASIL. That is the Conference on Database Systems. They changed this kind of monolithic kind of functioning, and they said you cannot be penalizing the user by making your product and the data by being put together and say that it is not possible to separate them at a later point of time. So CODASIL came out with a common language called SQL, structured query language. The query language said all the data must be available and are separate, and it must be possible to manipulate the data only through SQL. And any different vendor of a database system can be operating on the data only through this SQL. So SQL was the interface which was used by all the relational database people, vendors across the world. So this became the order of the day. Now, can we move on to the next slide, sir? Next slide. So this is the kind of evolution which we are seeing. Initially, we had payrolls only during the 1960s. I think we need to enlarge, sir. The bottom line is not seen. The year is not seen here. During the 1960s, only payroll was done, sorry. And during 1970s, material requirements planning. Only for material requirements, it was this information system was used. Then later on, it became manufacturing resource planning, incorporating human resource and other resources, production resources also into the manufacturing resource planning system, and they called it MRP2. Then we came up with the enterprise resource planning system, where we started integrating multiple functions. For example, order fulfillment is a process which will cut across marketing department. Will try to get the order, and from there the order, once it is received by the marketing department, it has to be processed, and for manufacturing it has to be sent to the production department. This was automatically being done in an ERP system. So and the accounting department has to make the corresponding bill, and the payment has to be made by the consumer. So accordingly, all these processes, order fulfillment was, sir, now that particular screen is gone. I think something has happened. The screen is not visible now. Presentation screen. The cutting across the boundary of various functional departments was started only after the implementation of enterprise resource planning system. Now I have to wait for the, I think the presentation is, can you all see the presentation? Only for me it is not there. Hello?
Not there. It's presentation is not there, sir. It's gone out.
Not there, sir. I think Devendra sir has to do something for making the presentation come on the screen.
Yeah, I'll again
Yeah.
do it.
So a ERP system that integrated various functional departments, and it was possible for the data to cross from one department to the other, and for one process. It was a process-oriented system. By saying process-oriented, what we mean is it will cut across the boundary of several functional departments, and the data will cross from one department to the other without even the user coming to know about it. In the earlier systems, from the accounting department, after processing, the data has to be fed to the human resource department software. So that way, from one department to the other, all the process data has to be again re-entered by the human being. So that problem was completely stopped. Only that particular screen, sir, the one which we are seeing, that is our evolution screen. The evolution screen, sir. Previous one. Yeah, here only. So the enterprise resource planning system allowed us to carry out processes which are process oriented, in the sense that data will cut across the boundary of several functional departments, and the required order fulfillment process means by placing the order till the order is received by the customer. That full process was completely integrated as one process by the system, and it was carried out by data cutting across the boundary of several departments. So that was the advantage of ERP which came into existence. Then this ERP, with the evolution of internet, it became web enabled, in the sense it was possible for multiple, for example, if a particular company is having multiple manufacturing locations. For example, if you take the case of HLL, Hindustan Life Care Limited, we are having several manufacturing units. One in Trivandrum is there. We have two manufacturing units in Trivandrum, in fact. One at Perurkada and the other one is at Akulam. Similarly, we also have one in Karnataka. The other one, I think, is in Hyderabad. So all these are having a common platform where the data will, I can see the headquarters can view the data of all these companies, different manufacturing units under the same company as integrated one. And we can see the production in total for today, for any of their products and so on. So that is the advantage of an ERP system if it is web enabled. So that came into existence in the 2000s. That is known as ERP2. So now, sir, next we can, next slide please, sir. Next slide. So ERP is a enterprise-wide system which will incorporate the mission, objectives, attitude, beliefs, all these of an organization put together, and it will make the organization function as a process-oriented one. That's the advantage which we get because of ERP. Shall we move on to the next slide, sir? Here, if I ask you, if I tell you the differences between an ERP and an application package, these are the ones. ERP is process-based. It is scalable. So, for example, if I want to add more number of units in ERP, it is possible. I can add easily, and I can also be help going global. For example, I tell you, suppose if my marketing manager is in France and he is trying to sell something, he can once he gets an order for 10,000 units of some particular product of my company, he need not check with the company over telephone. He can straight away accept the order, and once he tries to accept the order, the manufacturing side, all the for example, additional raw material procurement, the orders are automatically released. Then it will change the schedule in the factory production for incorporating this new order which has come into the system. All these are done automatically by the system. So a person who is only dealing with marketing, who is getting additional 10,000 units order without knowing how manufacturing will take place, what are the implications it is going to make to the system, by the hit of a return, he is making so many changes knowingly or unknowingly. That's the beauty of an ERP system. And a quality quote is immediately given. If the process is acceptable, with the even additionally how much human resource, for example, how many additional mechanical engineers are required, how many chemical engineers are required, what are the additional machines which are required, or if we have programmed our system in such a way that with the available facility things are to be done, it will give the schedule changes, and it will tell by what date the order can be delivered, and what will be the unit price of that item, that also will be shown. And the quality code means by a what date this much number of pieces can be handed over to the customer. So that immediately comes on the screen. So that's the advantage we get because of modern day ERP system. So by going global, anybody who is traveling international, a representative of the company can get the order from anywhere in the world. Accordingly, changes are made in the system and the production is done accordingly. Even purchase order was released for raw materials, also for procurement of human resource. That's the advantage. Here, if I talk about the application packages, it's very old. It's only function based. For example, accounting will have a separate package, and that cannot be used. The data coming out of that cannot be processed data. That is, information coming out of that will not automatically go to another system. I have to human man feed those systems into another one, another package. Then only the output from the next system will come. So there also, since the human being is intervening, there can be chances of errors. So that particular kind of chance of human error is completely avoided in ERP systems, because from department to department, the data transfer is automatic without human intervention. And shall we go to the next slide, sir, please? Here you can see that there is a centralized database, and we have, as you know, that today's factories industry is totally zero paper. In the sense, I cannot deal with any company without operating on the computer. All the inputs will come through in computer only. The output also will go in the form of computer output only. So if this investment people will interact with the company only through financial and accounting module, financial and control module they call it. Then we have supply chain people who give raw materials, various semi-finished components. All these are given, and that is managed by a company through supply chain management. Suppliers. All these are integrated through supply chain management module. Then we have customer relationship management module. There comes all to the company, all the discussion with the customers are taking place only through customer relationship management module. So what are the functions of customer relationship management module? Sales, service, and marketing. All these three functions are taken care of by this CRM module. Then we have the company and its production people and production department, and the company will interact with its people only through human resource module of that particular company. So with these four modules, mainly all the functions are integrated, and only through these the data will enter the company system, and also the data will come out of the company system. That's the way in which Cisco, if you take, it's a paperless office, a paperless production. All these are completely made paperless. So that is the way in which it is done today. Shall we go on to the next slide, sir? And now, today it's a world-class competitor scenario. The scenarios have changed. So that means a person who is competing from India definitely can be a competitor in the world scenario because of the internet and its presence. I can compete on cost, quality, service, and speed. So all these parameters, cost, quality, service, and speed. Next slide, sir. Sorry, previous slides. Here. So cost, quality, service, and speed are the basic parameters based on which people compete. Various competitors compete. So there, the advantage we get because of that. Then the next slide, please, sir. In the modern business scenario, the world is thinking I can sell my product anywhere in the world. Once I show that I have a quality product which can be sold at a lower price, my product will sell better than anybody else's product in the world. That advantage is there. So modern business scenario, I need not show on the TV screen. I need not broadcast over radio. Everything is available on the internet, and anybody who is searching for a low cost, high quality product, it is possible to find that over the internet. That's the advantage of today. Shall we move on to the next slide, sir? Please. One slide we missed, sir, in between. One up, sir. Internet scenario is also there. One up. Yeah. So the internet is overcoming the time and distance barriers. That's the advantage we are getting today. So globalization and web commerce are to be leveraged because of the today's internet presence. And people can be, any manufacturer can be getting advantage because of their virtual presence. Next slide, please, sir. So why we need ERP? That's a question which is a very relevant question. Here, as I told you, total integration of all processes is possible. That's first thing. Second thing is real-time decision making is possible. I need not wait. A person who is taking order in France for my company in India, which is during daytime in France, can be nighttime here. Still, production schedules are changed when my marketing manager is accepting an order in the country called France. So that advantage I'm getting because of real-time decision-making capability. I need not disturb anybody over telephone. I need not ask my general manager production whether I can accept this order. All these are, system will either say yes or no. System will never say no, but it will give a lengthy, production delivery date. The delivery date will be given at much later date if the quantity is so high. If it is acceptable to that particular customer, the system will accept it. There is no problem at all. And it facilitates multi-currency. Multi-currency, multi-language is the advantage we are getting here. In France, whatever be the kind of currency they use, in that currency, the quote will be given. That's the advantage. If I am doing in Italy, Italian lira will be the currency which is used there, and accordingly, the currencies are converted based on today's currency conversion rates, and accordingly, the manufacturing price and other things are computed, and the actual price will be quoted for that particular item. By that delivery date is system generated one will be given, and the delivery date also will be given. Probable date will also be given by the system automatically within a few minutes, I would say, with a minimum time, I would say. And here the advantage is we have better analysis using DSS. If I ask you whether all of us have used DSS, many of us will say, I have never used a decision support system. But I will say that at least some of us will say we have not used DSS. By knowingly or unknowingly, we all used Excel system. That is Excel, Microsoft Excel. In Microsoft Excel, once we change one particular computational formula can always be given for different columns. So once I hit return by changing one formula, the whole sheet is recomputed. We all have seen that. That's a what if analysis. What if analysis is really defined as DSS in the information systems subject. So many things, even though we use it, we do not know that it's a decision support system. So by naming them, it is not, even though it is sounding bigger, even the most common person living in this current era have utilized the advantages of this. So that's the beauty which we see here. Then going for ERP is definitely a technology demonstrator, but nobody wants to go for technology demonstration alone. Advantages are many. From one system to another, data entry is completely avoided. Improved data visibility is possible, and the decision support across multiple sites are also possible. As I told you, between countries, between manufacturing units of a particular company itself, it will automatically be taken care of. We have ERP integrated with the supply chain management system, knowledge management system, customer relationship management system, and so on. Let us go to the next slide, sir, please. And why in the year 2000, suddenly there was an exodus for people to move from one system to another. Because in the year 2000, we know that that the particular 2000 came, the subtraction from the one to the last two digits were only there, programmed in the computer before that. So 00, when you take all these numbers, it became absurd. That's the reason why everybody was forced to use a new system. So when the switching came into became a requirement, people gave it a second thought whether they should go use that as an opportunity to switch over to ERP system, because changing from one existing system to going for a new system is a costly affair. So a second thought was really required. But the year 2000 change made them made it a requirement for them to move to a new system. There, many people decided to go for ERP system. That was one catch, and many people had disparate computing environment. So they wanted to unify that. So 24% of the people, they went for ERP for having unified computing environment. And the poor quality of the existing system was the reason why 17% of the people switched over for ERP system. And when they acquired new companies, the acquired company was having a different kind of ERP system, not ERP system, some other production system where some information system was incorporated. So they wanted to unify that. So for that also, they switched over to ERP, where the integration was easily possible. Then in order to integrate the business processes, 12% of the people surveyed, they said they went for ERP for integrating the business processes. Then 7% of the people interviewed, survey told they wanted to come out of the obsolete systems which they use today, and when they wanted to go for a new system, they switched over to ERP. And in some companies' cases, it was not possible to support the growth. The scalability was affected very much because of their old system. At that point, they switched over to ERP, and such companies surveyed companies accounted for 5%. Let us go to the next slide, sir. So, coming to ERP2, as I told you, ERP2 came into existence because of the evolution of internet. Prior to that, we only had ERP. In ERP, the disadvantage was that it was written only one. We were having only one system. Whether it is steel manufacturing, whether it is paper manufacturing, whether it is paint manufacturing, for everything we had only one system. So that was not possible because workflow for each company is different. If it's Microsoft, it's a software company, there the workflow can be different. If it's a steel manufacturing company, the workflow is different. So for all these different workflows are to be used, and accordingly the ERP has to be generated. So ERP2 was having such kind of advantages. Then it was also web enabled. So that's the advantage we got there. Let us move on to the next slide, sir. So if I ask me the major changes, this is what I was telling. The ERP2 integrated all these supply chain management, customer relationship management, knowledge management, business intelligence, and inventory optimization. All these were rolled into one. So that advantage we got, and it was possible to operate on a collaborative commerce mode. I will show you over a picture how this collaborative commerce works. Shall we move on to the next slide, sir? So ERP2, already I just pointed out the differences between these two. Still, in a nutshell, I would say ERP2 is web enabled, unlike ERP. ERP gave more important, it was focused on either wide coverage or focused into one particular aspect. But ERP gave the right mix of depth and breadth. So that's the advantage we got by using ERP2. ERP was more targeted towards manufacturing alone. Here, ERP2 engulfed service operations also. So that's the advantage you are getting by switching over to ERP2. ERP could not integrate different functions in one organization, but ERP2 integrated many functions from many different organizations. Because if I am a company having different units in different places in India itself or some other foreign country, it is possible to incorporate all this. Unify all this at least from the information systems point of view. So here, because we had web-enabled ERP, that is ERP2. So that embraced even customer relationship management and supply chain management. In the past, many companies like I2 Technologies, they were having supply chain management specialty. Only those companies generated supply chain software. But ERP system of today, supply chain management is one module. So a person who is purchasing ERP system will have all these pluggable modules, and depending upon the availability of resources, I can add more pluggable modules like this and make it more elaborate. Sir, shall we move on to the next slide, sir? See, this is the ERP2 Act architecture. What you are seeing here is the ERP2 Act architecture. Here you are seeing at the central portion, all the key processes are integrated via the ERP, various modules. If you ask me how many modules are there in ERP supplied by SAP, I would say more than 25, 26 modules are there. It is not possible to master all these different modules by one person. A particular person will be master of one module or two modules maximum. One module is sufficient enough. Suppose if I am good at finance and control, I should be happy with that, and I should be at least it will take 6 months to master one particular module, and I will be an expert in that only. And another person may be good at sales and distribution module. So like that, 24, 25 different modules are there basically. And supply chain management on one side, you have product lifecycle development module on the other side, customer management on the third side. Like that, all these are connected to supply chain management is connected to supplier collaboration with other countries. Maybe I have suppliers who are residing abroad also. And I may have some design partners who are from other countries or other states in the same country. So that kind of collaboration is possible very much over the internet architecture. And the ERP2 is facilitating that. Shall we go to the next slide, sir? Here, if you ask me the cost of implementation of this, out of the total cost, around 12% of the cost will go for hardware. Software will consume 15% of the total cost. Training, see, another 15% is consumed by the training aspect. Data conversion from the old system to the new system will consume at least 15% of the total cost. And re-engineering will require at least 43%. What is this re-engineering? All the processes which were done in a different form before, after the implementation of ERP has to be changed, and it has to be brought into there is a gap analysis which needs to be done, and it has to be put in the new format in the new system. So that re-engineering requires 43% of the resources, total cost. Let us move on to the next slide, sir. So what are the reasons why ERP system fails? If you ask me this question, I would say first thing is, if I choose the wrong ERP, because there are hundreds of ERP vendors across the world, and all of them are not really good in every aspect. For example, once upon a time, PeopleSoft was good for, if I am concentrating more on HR related, PeopleSoft was the best once upon a time. So if I use some other vendor's product in places where the human resource is more important, there is a chance that it might fail. Then incompetent consultants. Without consultant, you cannot manage a ERP system implementation in your factory or your organization. So if they are not competent enough, it will fail. And if you are doing it in a haphazard fashion, there also the chance of failure is high. And there are different methods of implementation also. That does not come under the scope of our present day lecture. It has to be handled separately. Either you can go for big bang approach, you have phased approach. Different approaches are there. Each is having its own level of risk that has to be seen separately. And these consultants decide which is the best way of handling a particular implementation, whether to go for big bang or phased approach or running in parallel approach and so on. So sudden transformation of employees from clerical to decision-making jobs. This is what I was telling. A clerical person, a marketing person who is accepting an order from abroad, and that too at night time, changes the order schedules and production schedules in a factory located in India, That means, see the kind of power given to that person. By mistake, if he is doing something, it changes all the production schedules in factory located in India. That too at night time, without any even production manager coming to know about it. It releases order for the purchase of raw materials. So to that extent, it is risky. But at the same time, it is very advantageous also. So lack of training is another reason why it fails. Training cannot be neglected. That's the reason 15% of the cost is allocated for training itself. Fear of unemployment. When the new system is in place, definitely people will have fear that the computer will take away all the jobs. So that kind of fear will result in the failure of ERP. Everybody wants to say that once implemented, this is not the best way. Let us roll back to the old model. So that should not be allowed. We have to give sufficient training for them so that the implemented new system will function from there onwards. And based on an international questionnaire, the ERP, why then? See, ERP once came into existence, people are using that only as a transaction processing system. This is what I wanted to stress here. Why? You know that if you consider a triangle, at the base of the triangle, we have so much number. And transaction processing people or operational people are more in number. They only are doing the transaction. For example, if you go to a railway station for booking, several booking clerks are there across India. And they will do the ticket booking. So once a ticket is booked, what category of ticket, how much money is paid, only that information. That's called transaction processing. We all know that. One step above that, we have manager level, tactical planning we call it. So there, managers will have decision support system or MIS, fortnightly reports in specific format. So they are lesser in number only. They are lesser in number than operational people. Then we have the senior planning people. Those people are very less in number, and they are the people who decide whether my factory should start manufacturing in Singapore from next year onwards or not. That is known as strategic planning, where ordinary structured decisions may not be easily possible. Structured in the sense, all details are given, I make a decision based on number. Here, some unstructured decision making also may be required. So that is required at the top level. So whether this ERP can be utilized for strategic decision making, if that can be utilized, why it is not happening in the ERP of today? That was the kind of question which was tried to be answered using the survey. So people said ERP requires intelligence for strategic decision making. The statistics said yes, accept, it is required. Web-enabled strategic decision making ERP evolution, they all accepted it. Survey said yes, it is required. And then ERP will remain as a transaction processing system. Everybody rejected it. Statistically, this hypothesis was rejected. That means it will evolve into a strategic planning system, not transaction processing system alone. Then ERP is good for transaction processing alone. They rejected it. That means the evolution is one day or other, it has to, it is inevitable. That was the result. Widespread use of AI techniques are available in ERP. At that time, it was not there. Even today, it is in the scratch phase only. In very limited areas only, we make use of AI system. Why that is happening? Only to that extent. Why not more? And that is the reason why today ERP system is evolving with more number of artificial intelligence coming into play. Sir, next slide, please, sir. Here you can see that difficulty in implementing intelligent ERP is due to lack of web tools. People rejected it. Survey, it was rejected. And that means it is possible with the present day tools, it is possible to incorporate intelligence into ERP. Lack of incorporation intelligence is due to security reasons. That also people rejected. Survey rejected that. That means it is not due to security reasons. Then major vendors dislike to risk. That also is rejected. People are ready to take the risk. They want to automate to the extent possible. Even decision making, they wanted to hand over to the computer. Wherever something can be made routine, even to the extent of making decisions, that also manufacturers were ready to hand over to computer systems if it can be intelligently handled. ERP system being mission critical, intelligence should not be rejected. That was the next hypothesis. That was also rejected. That means even mission critical activities also can be handed over to the system for handling it in an intelligent way. So AI techniques and web tools are not mature enough. Is that the reason? That was checked. There also it was rejected. There were sufficient AI techniques. There were sufficient web tools for integrating them into ERP systems of modern day. So there is a very good reason why the evolution of ERP system can take place from the AI point of action. So that is what I'm going to explain in my next slide. Please give me 10 more minutes. I will explain that also before going on for question answer sessions. I'm sorry for the, I think I am not doing justice to the time because I lost some 10 minutes in the beginning. Shall we move on to the next slide, sir? Here, I am bringing out a new concept called, it's not new, many of us know about the intelligent agent. Again, if I ask whether we have used intelligent agent in our day-to-day use, I would say yes. Like MS Excel is a decision support system which all of us use, and we do not know that the name of that is a DSS because it can very well do any kind of what-if analysis. Similarly, in our Microsoft Word, whenever I type something, another agent will come and pop up and say, you wanted to write like this, or autocorrect is there for spelling. This is because something is working in the background, in the environment. So whenever I type something wrong, it will either, even if I try to type something right, it will say, did you mean this? You want to click this and say, this is wanted to complete this sentence, complete this particular word and so on. That's an intelligent agent which is working in the background. So it is not new to us. But here I am going to bring out the use of an intelligent agent for mutual fund investment. In the finance control module, we require one, I am only talking about one particular function which is required in the ERP system of today, which is making use of intelligence. So this is an intelligent agent. There can be several such agents, and these agents can talk to each other, and like human beings, it can come out with a more intelligent decision, which human beings may make take several hours to complete that task. But being a computer, it will take lesser time. The only thing is that we have to program the logic. And this kind of logic here is based on heuristics. Heuristics, many of us know, it is something like, I will cut one particular branch. For example, if I have animals, animal kingdom, I can divide that into carnivores and herbivores. So two types classification is there. Once I say they eat only vegetables, I can prune one side, and I will only be looking for something like it is having the claws won't be there. There won't be any kind of what do you call it, sharp teeth won't be there. Like that, several features will not be present in the case of vegetarian or herbivorous animals. So in a similar way, intelligence can be embedded in systems, and I am going to show you a program where this one intelligent agent developed using a particular language called Prolog, which can function in the internet. Then only it is possible. We know the power of internet. What is the power of internet? I can dig data from any old system, even legacy systems. I can dig the data. Platform is immaterial. When Java came into existence, the beauty is that the data can be got from any old system. Data can be got from any old system. Then, irrespective of the platform, the data will go from one browser to another database. I can fetch something. I can manipulate that, and the result can be again shown back to the screen, web browser. So that advantage is there very much. So in the case of intelligent agent, different intelligent agents can be programmed. So I am only showing you one particular agent, which is for mutual fund decision making in the mutual fund scenario. Let us move on to the next slide, sir. So here I have made use of three different variables. One is the current state of the economy and the price to earnings ratio. In the finance, we have one particular investment in mutual fund means what is today's price and what is the earnings of that particular mutual fund. That ratio is P by E ratio. And there is one more ratio which we need to consider. that is the gap in the moving average. This is taken from a reference called Perret and Perret, his book on written in 1999. Like this, data can be got from different sources, but only thing is that it has been programmed using a proper language called Prolog or Lisp. The beauty of this Prolog and Lisp are they are artificial intelligence languages. They don't execute like procedural languages, and they are known as declarative languages. In procedural languages, what happens is that every line is executed, one line after the other, until unless we have a go-to statement is there. Usually, we don't use go-to statement. That's the wrong. It is not an accepted way of good way of writing the program. So until unless a go-to statement is there, line by line execution only will be done. But in the case of a procedural language, sorry, declarative language, I will jump from one to another, several lines down the stream. So that kind of jumping is because we have if-then rules. If-then rules are there. If certain antecedents are true, then certain consequences are true. With these consequences can be antecedents for some other rules. So automatically they become right means, correct means, again few more consequences will become correct. Like that it goes on and it will try to fire as many rules as possible and it will give me the answer. And it will ask only minimum number of questions for solving a problem. Let us move on to the next slide, sir, please. Shall we move on to the next slide, sir? As an example, a gap from moving average of +5 and above, I call it high. And I have defined -3 to +5 as okay, and less than -3 as something low. Let us move on to the next slide, sir. Here, the sample rule is if P/E ratio is high and the change in GNP is low and the gap from moving average is high, then the decision on the investment is to sell the mutual fund holding which you are having now. And shall we go to the next slide, sir? Here is a set of 9 different rules. You will have 27 rules here, but I am showing only 9 rules corresponding to GNP having all low. GNP can have all okay, or it can be all high. So like that, 27 different combinations will come, and accordingly, if this is low, this is high, decision is sell. So like that, I can develop some rules like this, and it can be implemented in the Prolog. Beauty is it can be working on a browser. The internet browser, it will work, and automatically certain things are. I can give the feed from internet also. For example, today's exchange rate is to be known for dollars means automatically it will take from the internet. Let us go to the next slide, sir. Here I am using the fuzzy logic. Why the fuzzy logic is required? See, always the truth system, if I take, if the first one, for example, price to earnings ratio is low means up to 13 it is low. But between 12 and 13, you see, it is either it can be low or it can also be categorized in okay. If okay is the level for price to earnings ratio, some other set of rules also will get fired. So when such a kind of multiple firing happens, the one which is having more strength has to be projected and that has to come out as an answer. So similarly, for all the 3 variables, I have used fuzzy logic for the like human thinking. The fuzzy logic is something like having a membership between 0 and 1. If the membership is 0, then that particular aspect does not exist at all. If the membership is 1, totally it is 1. For example, at the top you have 1 and the bottom you have 0. In between memberships are there. So between 12 and 13, if I get a number like 12.5, it will have a membership in low as well as it will have a membership in okay. So accordingly, rules are fired in P/E ratio low and also P/E ratio okay. Let us move on to the next slide, sir. So this is the screen for inputting. Here, I did not use it as an intelligent agent residing in an environment, but instead of that, I wanted to execute in a browser. I fed that details into the system so that it will give me an answer on the browser itself. So I gave the numbers for each of these 3 parameters as a sample, and it gave me answers. Let us see the answers, sir. Next slide. Here I got the suggestion to sell the item with a membership of 0.666, because this 0.666 was the result which gave me an answer by firing several rules. Even though I several decisions, the one which is having higher membership called 0.66 was only available for this cell. So this only gets the highest priority, and that was decided as the answer for intelligent answer for this particular situation. Let us move on to the next slide, sir. Here you can see the difference between intelligent expert system and the CRISP system output. If you see the last screen, it is CRISP system. In the sense, I have only either the P by E ratio low or high or okay. If I like that for others also, if I have classified that into one of these only, automatically my result also will be one, or it can be many. But which one it won't tell. For example, I get multiple results from the CRISP expert system. But you see, in the case of intelligent expert system, it has given me a particular answer for which membership is high. It has taken the decision with the high membership is projected as the decision for the situation. I need not worry about what were the other results which I got. From the results I got, the rule which was fired with much more better membership was given as the answer. So I am getting more crisp answer rather than this expert system with crisp input. So intelligent expert system gives me one fine answer. So that's the advantage of this system. Let us move on to the next slide, sir. So as a conclusion, I try to define my ERP. I define that. And what are the reasons why people went for ERP was explained. The evolution in ERP was presented. An attempt was also made to differentiate between ERP and what is present in ERP2, how the evaluation is taking place. Then what are the reasons for the failure of an implemented ERP, that also is addressed. And finally, I gave you an example of how we can incorporate artificial intelligence into present day ERP system. Many such solutions are already being done, and the evolution is happening in that direction. Still, we have many more we have to go much further to make it more intelligent and handle more automatic decision making by these systems. To what extent humans will allow that is a big question, because we are all worried about computers doing everything for us. Because when it comes to question of money and investment, we are very much worried. If it's doing I tell you another good example. I can get the feed of you know about arbitrage. Arbitrage means the National Stock Exchange, the Bombay Stock Exchange, or you take the case of Madras Stock Exchange and Bombay Stock Exchange. Assume that we are having L&T listed in both these stock exchanges. The price of L&T in Bombay Stock Exchange can be different from price of L&T in Madras Stock Exchange. So if the system can sense that, and if two feeds are taken, for the one feed for L&T price in Madras and another feed for L&T price in Bombay, if there is a price difference of say 10 paise or 1 rupee, then before the closing of this 1 rupee in the other direction, if I buy from the place where it is low in price and sell it in the place where in the exchange where it is high, priced high, 1 rupee is sufficient. If I sell 1,000 numbers, I can make 1,000 rupees profit. If I automate this, and if the system is able to do it by itself, I become richer. It's only a question of who is having the most powerful, much more powerful processor, and who is having a better intelligent system programmed with them. That day is not going to be farther from today. So it is going to be a war of computers and nothing else. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Now I am ready for answering your questions. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. That is truly a great session. So the first question is from N. Ravindranathan. So can you give the details of any major manufacturing company adopting web-enabled ERP for the activities in India? If more companies are adopting web-enabled ERP, please share the details.
HLL is one. HLL is having in their Karnataka plant The beauty is that in Trivandrum, all these places, Hindi is used. Hindi is there. Either it will be written in Hindi, or you can take the printout in English, or the currency. For example, they don't have a manufacturing unit abroad, but if you are having a company with manufacturing unit abroad, the currency there will be displayed, and if you are seeking some data from here, it will show in Indian currency. For example, Infosys is having Microsoft, if you take, it is having multi-country operation. So it will give the results in that particular country's currency and the language. And at the same time, the headquarters can view in a consolidated view of functioning of all these on a particular date, particular time. Also, any company's financial data can be taken at any point of time. I need not wait for the March to come to get the balance sheet to find out the financial stability of the company to make a decision on whether to sell the company or buy the company. I can do it at any point of time because no other transaction will happen except through the ERP system. And all accounts are settled on any day, and the balance sheet can be generated on any day. The old system is it will take 6 months for the particular 1 year for the session to close, another 3 months for the development of this balance sheet books and books of accounts and so on. Then only a decision regarding whether to buy the company or not can be made. Here today, with a printout from, I can get the corresponding figures of a balance sheet on any day, and I can make a purchase of a company, decision on the purchase of a company or not to purchase the company any day of the year. Am I answering that question? One answer can be HLL. I will give you answer as HLL. Or you can say Microsoft. There are so many companies. Even today, it need not be a multi, $1 million company. Even ordinary companies, if they don't have the gap system, Walmart will not.
The audio is broken. Dr. Suresh, broken. You are not audible, Dr. Suresh.
Can you hear me? No?
Yeah.
Yeah. So today, many companies are having multiple units, and they can get the consolidated data of all their companies and their performance at any point of time. That advantage is there. Very much. Many, and small companies are also having this ERP system if they want to do business with a big company having ERP system incorporated. Otherwise, it's a bottleneck. My speed of the functioning will only be good if my vendors are also having the same speed ERPs. Otherwise, what will happen is that I will have only the lowest speed of my vendor. That is what the beauty is. So nobody will be left out. Everybody has to, the price of the ERP system has come down drastically, and everybody is going for ERP system implementation, whether it's a medium-sized company or a large company. Previously, it was only large companies which was going for this. Did I answer that question?
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Suresh.
Yeah.
Any other question?
Okay, now the next question. Your slide display date as August 2, 2007. Is it a mistake, or is there a no change in the subject over the last 15 years?
Yeah. That is correct date only. The survey was done during that time only. From there onwards, many changes have taken place. That time it was we were only sensing that that kind of evolution is taking place or not. So that is the reason why such a kind of survey was done that time. But today, everywhere we are hearing that AI is in place. AI is being applied in all areas of business. Today only, our processes are having, you know that the development of databases must be there. There must be development of processors with high-speed processing on the other side. Then we should also be having artificial intelligence techniques and more presence of web tools which can handle all these in the web environment. So all these evolutions are happening only in the modern context. And in 2007 and 2006, there's only sense. But today it is really happening. That's what I would say.
Okay, sir. The third question. Has cloud ERP found widespread acceptance?
Definitely. So many companies across the world are using ERP only. If you are not using ERP and you are not implementing ERP by saying that you are only a small company, you are going to be left out. One day you are going to be out of business. There is no doubt regarding that. That's the reason why, irrespective of your specialization, one should be going for at least some module of ERP. You should know what it is. Whether you are an art student or a engineering student or whatever student you are. If you are into business, if you want to be involved in the supply chain, some component of the supply chain, either in the manufacturing or service sector, you should be knowing about ERP. Knowingly or unknowingly, you should be using them. There is no doubt regarding that.
It's about cloud ERP.
Yeah, now ERP is also available in the cloud form. That's the only thing. But ERP is ERP only. The functionalities are whatever is available in ERP only, but it's available in cloud form. Because everybody will not have the ability to purchase and implement one system of their own in their company. So in such people can use cloud. Cloud, you know that we pay for software as a service. For the type for which that particular thing is used, you pay the money and you are leaving it as such. So that's the advantage of cloud computing. So that can also be the case with the ERP, but usually no good company goes for implementing such systems in software as a service thing. The reason is my data is more important for me. If my data is going to the competitor, I will be in great trouble. So I don't give a chance by going in for a third vendor to operate my payrolls. We used to give out to other companies. So what is the guarantee that that particular service agent or consultant is not giving the data to a competitor of mine? Even I can tell you another example. The ERP system implementation, if it is done in one company, for example, Microsoft, it is implemented Azure. Microsoft's competitor is there, some other company, let's say X. This the person who is getting experience in implementing ERP in Microsoft will not be allowed to be hired by the company X by Microsoft. Instead of that, what they will do is Microsoft himself will hire this particular consultant so that his expertise will not go and the details will not leak outside the company. So this is what here we have to have one of your own. I cannot have the chance of data leaking out of my company. Did I answer that? Yeah.
The next question. Should an Indian standard time be implemented across all the systems in India when transactions become lightning fast?
Here it is. I told you it's a multi-country solution. So every country in that particular country's time, date, currency, language, everything is printed according to the place from where it is the printout is taken. And that is the way in which the modern day ERP is written. So no factory need to study all the different languages of a foreign country to operate, even though their plants are located in different parts of the world. A person sitting in one country will see the details of the other plant if required. Everybody will not be given all the privileges for viewing all the details of the other plant, except some very senior people of the company. But whatever required, those privileges will be given to minimal level, and that can be seen in his local language, in his local time. There is no doubt regarding that. Yes.
Does anyone have any more queries?
ERP3. I am seeing a question here. ERP3. The evolution definitely will take place. Like more and more ERP2, 3, like our industry 4.0, 5.0, 6.0, even 7.0, we are hearing. More and more. See, complete implementation of intelligence has not taken place. It is not possible. Only thinking is taking place, and to a certain extent, it is possible to incorporate the intelligence. That also we have studied, and it is implemented. But nothing is complete. But with the evolution of cloud and other things, it's a new way of doing things. And definitely, evolution in such direction is possible. We can always call them this ERP X or something like that. It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that, evolution will take place. On one side, processors and speed. Other side, it is databases and their integration possibilities. Optimization of the search results. For example, if I give a search to Oracle database, for the same query, it may take so many milliseconds or nanoseconds. The same query, if I make to another company's product, for example, Oracle is there, then Sybase. Sybase is not existing today. You tell me another relational database company. If I give that same query to that company's database, it may take a much more fewer milliseconds. So, which is giving me at a faster pace, will sell better. There's no doubt. Performance of databases is measured in terms of the response time. So that matters a lot. Even the constructs which are written in SQL, some constructs for the same answer will take more time. So intelligent people working for such companies writing SQL codes in a more concise and the performance advantageous form will get higher priority, and they will be the best people hired by these companies, and there will be a shortage of such people. And if you are good at this, what Amazon is doing, Amazon is looking for experts who can write SQL statements, embedded statements, which can process a particular query in lesser time. Optimization is done by the relational database selling companies. At the same time, also by experts who code the SQL statements for this. SQL is the backbone of all these relational databases, irrespective of the company which sells this relational database. Yes.
Since there are no more questions in the chat box, we are ending the question and answer session.
Thank you very much. If you have more questions, I'll be happy to share whatever knowledge I have with you. And my email address is Suresh Subramanyam, SURESH Suresh. And I can also type my email address. Let me see. I think I have to close this the sharing of the screen. Then only I can. How do I do that? Here I am seeing.
No, you need not have. You need not have to close the sharing. Sharing is already closed. I think.
Okay, sir. I am able to type here. Let me see what else.
You can use chat box.
Yeah, I am doing that, sir. And my number also I will give.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have put my email address and number. Anybody who wants to contact me in this connection definitely can ask questions. I will be happy to share whatever knowledge I have, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. You have patiently answered all the queries that had arisen. Thank you so much, sir, for that.
Thank
now,
you.
I call upon Minha to deliver the word of thanks.
A warm evening to one and all gathered here. Most valued guest of honor, Dr. Suri Subramanyam, all other esteemed dignitaries and dear participants. I am much privileged to propose the vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of those who worked hard to make this 101st talk of Intersociety weekly webinar series a huge success. On behalf of IWWS, I exhibit heartfelt thanks to our chief guest, Dr. Suri Subramanyam, who spent his busiest time lighting the occasion. Your thoughts have really enlightened us and it was mind-blowing. As a token of love and honor, we would like to present a virtual memento. Kindly accept it, sir.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Special mention to Dr. Ravindranathan, sir, respected chairperson of IWWS, being the backbone of this event, who inspired us to do our best and stand as a pillar of power. With deep sense of appreciation, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I would also like to express our sincere gratitude to the people behind the scene who helped to execute this event, especially technical arrangement team, Ms. Neha and Christopher, the moderator of the session, Atmaja DV, who delivered the welcome speech, and Noah Stebby for the introduction. At the end, I express my sincere thanks to all the participants who gathered tonight. Your active participation was the success of this webinar. Once again, thank you all.
Thank you, Minha. Sir, can we conclude the session?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Before we conclude, I'd like to say one more thing, that our 102nd Talk of Intersociety webinar series will be held on 23rd March at 7 p.m. The speaker of the day will be respected A.R. Madana Mohan K., Deputy Chief Electrical Engineer, Indian Railways, on the topic Indian Railways, a net zero carbon emitter by 2030. Hoping to see you all on the day. With that, we come to the end of the webinar. Thank you all.